We read automatically. How does that happen? How might our understanding of brain function influence how we think about teaching reading? Emerging brain imaging data have yielded an exciting new explanation of how automatic reading develops. Good evidence indicates that the left OT system is indeed critical for developing reading fluency. That is, reading accurately, rapidly, and with good understanding. Recent evidence indicates that the occipitotemporal OT region acts not as a storage area, but rather as an interactive neural node where information from multiple inputs, including phonologic, sound-based, orthographic, visual, and semantic, meaning-based, are integrated and synthesized. In this view, the neural mechanisms for the elements of reading, phonology, orthography, semantics are best conceptualized as distributed patterns of neural activity representing each of these elements. In other words, multiple neural pathways must be activated and then joined together. We think the integrative system works to build and support fluency in the following way. After a child has integrated the word components, the phonology, orthography, and semantics, and correctly read a word several times, this integration process occurs more and more rapidly, so that the word is read virtually instantaneously. Subsequently, just seeing the word in print activates this primed process, and the word is read fluently. That is, it all happens automatically without conscious thought or effort. Recognition of the neural processes underlying skilled, fluent reading has important implications for how reading is taught, especially to struggling readers. Currently, phonology, sounding out words, is often taught to the relative exclusion of other elements of reading. With these new data supporting the interactive theory, educators should now give serious thought to enlarging their perspective early on in the primary grades to include early exposure to words in context by having the children begin to read as early and as much as possible, and stressing vocabulary as essential rather than ancillary in teaching children to read. You might ask, what is the neural signature for dyslexia? What does it look like? And what does it represent? As shown in the figure, on the left, non-impaired readers activate neural systems that are mostly in the back of the left side of the brain, shaded areas, red and yellow. On the right, dyslexic readers underactivate these reading systems in the back of the brain and tend to overactivate frontal areas. Converging evidence from many laboratories around the world has now unequivocally demonstrated the neural signature for dyslexia. That is, an inefficient functioning of those reading systems in the back of the brain during reading. This evidence from fMRI has for the first time made visible what previously was a hidden disability. These findings now explain the previously puzzling picture of bright adult dyslexic readers who improve in reading words accurately, but for whom reading remains slow and draining. The dysfunction in left posterior systems prevents rapid automatic word recognition. The development of ancillary, right-sided frontal and posterior, as well as left frontal systems, allows for accurate, yes, albeit very slow reading. These dyslexic readers have to rely on a manual rather than on an automatic system for reading. What's wrong with this statement? Quick, I want an fMRI to diagnose my or my child's dyslexia. Think again. No, you don't. Caution. As a scientist, I am truly excited to be able to speak about a neural signature for dyslexia. But this leads to the question that I am asked over and over again. Can you image my child's brain to see if he is dyslexic? As a responsible neuroscientist and clinician, I must recommend that you neither request nor undergo fMRI to diagnose your or your child's dyslexia. This procedure is simply not ready to be used clinically. You may ask, why? In carrying out research, we image groups of individuals and analyze the fMRI activation patterns based on group results. Although we and others are working towards obtaining reliable results based on a single person, there is just too much variability within each individual and across individuals to provide a reliable interpretation based on a single person. My advice to you at this time, as tempting as it may be, is not to look to brain imaging to diagnose dyslexia. Such a procedure has as much chance of providing incorrect information as it does of being correct. As we will talk about in the following lectures, the good news, however, is that with the deep understanding of dyslexia that now exists, dyslexia can be reliably diagnosed clinically based on a synthesis of an individual's history, symptoms, observation of the person speaking and reading, and test measures.
Dyslexic students should be taught appropriately, which does not mean reading by osmosis. That means reading in a scaffolded way with a program that is based on phonics. And after that, and concurrently, there should be a writing program that is being given to your child that is based on phonics. There should be measurable goals, because the school will need to write goals. Those goals need to be measurable. How do you measure progress? How do you see if the intervention is working? If the intervention isn't working, then you need to have another meeting. Most of all, it is important for parents to know that it is possible for your child to learn to read. Just because dyslexic readers read with a different part of their brain, it does not mean that they will not learn to read. Your children will learn to read given appropriate intervention.